a long sabbatical, I'm back with season 5. And I wanted, with whatever's happened in the last few years with COVID and a lot of people losing their jobs, me included, I realized that we needed to bring some happiness back into the world. And therefore, this season is titled The Uplifters. And who better than Mr. Atul Khatri to kick off the season? I'm very honored that you've agreed to come on Life Begins at 40. Atul, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you so much.
And from being doing his engineering to his MBA and traversing that journey from the CEO to a stand-up comedian and one of the finest in India and one of the few who's invited internationally for his humor to make the world a lighter place. I am truly honored to have you on Life Begins at 40 today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love the title of Life Begins at 40.
To start with, Atul, do you cook?
No, I just cook tea, which I learned in the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I make very good tea. Yeah, because I realized that I used to have shows in the evening, early evening, and there was nobody to cook tea because my cook used to sleep that time, and my wife refused to do that. So I had to make my own tea. So I learned from my wife, and I'm a good learner, and now I make great tea.
So does that remain your favorite dish, or do you have?
Yeah, that remains my favorite dish because I honestly I genuinely love tea. And I drink, I think, liters of tea every day. And
wow.
So I learned to cook it myself. I'm happy about it. Although I know there's nothing too much in making tea. Yeah.
There's a lot of effort that goes in making good tea. So my father has aced it, incidentally. And that's also the only thing he can make. So your favorite color?
Blue.
Wonderful. I can see you wearing blue. And your go-to music?
My go-to music is rock music. I used to love a lot of old rock music like Led Zeppelin, Jethro Tull, Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne. I'm like I am a true fan of rock. And I tell my children, there was music which had actual lyrics. Not just music which just go tick 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 for 2 hours and people dance. I just can't understand that.
And the most embarrassing that has ever happened to you?
The most embarrassing moment?
Moment that is...
Actually, a lot of embarrassing moments, but I think the most has been that after a show, I remember, standing outside the show and usually, people coming up to you, hey, great show, can you remove a selfie? And then after 2 minutes, this other guy came and I thought he was asking selfie and he looked at me and said, sir, where is the toilet? And I said, it's over there. So that was very embarrassing because I thought he's coming for a selfie, but he was just another guy asking where the toilet is.
And how many people did you have around you at that time?
There was another comedian next to me and we both had a great laugh because he thought somebody's coming to asking me for a selfie and not him, and actually just wanted directions.
See, you seemed more responsible to him, therefore he asked you.
Yeah, he probably thought I'm an older guy with a weak bladder. I'll know where it is.
What do you think? What would you wish the organizers of your show would do better?
To not rely on me to sell tickets and do their own job.
Good point. Roses are red, but why are violets blue?
Because I think red has already been taken by the rose, so that's why violets decided to take blue. I think it was the next color available on the spectrum.
And why soup eaten and not drunk?
See, I think the same reason why whiskey is drunk and not eaten. I'm assuming.
Does working on comedy help the bowel movement?
Sorry, does working on comedy?
On comedy help your bowel movement?
My bowel movement?
Yes.
Oh yeah, of course. Most of my jokes, the best jokes come on the pot. Every comedian will tell you that the best jokes come on the pot.
Well, it did help my movement this morning. I was pretty excited.
I'm glad to help you. Yeah.
Cooperated, yes. Your first crush?
My first crush was like long time back ago. Sanjana, you're pretty young, but for old people like me, we used to write pen pals at that time. So I remember I got this pen pal from this random lady from girl rather from Missouri who I never saw. There were no pictures, nothing, and we used
Hmm.
to just write to each other. And that was my first crush. It was a nice crush because I don't know what she looked like, but still, yeah, that pen pal, anonymous crush was my first crush.
That was true romance. I remember we used to be writing letters with no clue of what the person looked like. And these days, when one goes to these dating apps, the first thing people ask is, "What? Send us a picture."
Yeah. Well, actually, the pictures most of the time, the picture is already there, so you know what it is. And I think that is fairly judgmental because based on the picture, you'll decide to make the next step. But here was true love where without knowing people. And if you remember, there used to be these booklets available where there were these addresses, and you could send addresses to random, letters to anybody. And
Yes,
and lo and behold, used to get responses also.
absolutely. True romance and true friendship.
Absolutely.
So, what do you think? Okay, this is like a random question. What do you think dating apps have taken away from us?
I think dating apps have taken away, the element of surprise, the element of honesty, the
Hmm.
element of, I would say, like I remember, I went once for a date. I think it was maybe in college, and it was the date set up by some other friend, and I didn't know what that person looked like because there was no email that time also that or some way you could send pictures,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was like the excitement of going there, absolutely blind date, you don't know what it is, and you meet somebody over there, and it was like starting from nowadays, you thanks to I mean technology, you can stalk that person, you can go on Google and find out what that person does, what's his or her salary, and this you can go to LinkedIn, you can go here, there's so many profiles available, everything is so open over there. I think uh, 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 you know uh, I think just that thing of having a fresh conversation, I think that you can't just replicate. And I honestly think that's a sad part of the current dating scene where everything is so quick, everything is like an Uber app. So and right, left, you make your choice and things like that. So I'm pretty much old school, and I mean, I came from an era where there was not even, I mean, there was just telephone, that black and black telephone, and I remember like when I should my wife. When she used to give me calls, she used to give me 3 missed calls, and which I knew was mine. That means ke call me back. My mom is not at home. You know, and after some time, I think my parents realized it is tera hi call hoga. Types.
आजकल ये होता है, call me back, my parents are not home, come over, my parents are
Yeah,
not
yeah,
home.
come over. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, your naughtiest act in childhood.
Maybe it would have been in school. I
Okay.
remember there was this best friend of mine who used to never give bad words. So I
Hmm.
used to like, plead him, "Okay, please at least give one bad word." Throughout the thing, it became so thing that whenever he used to meet me, he used to remove this divider from his compass box. So divider was the thing with those two pointed ends,
Hmm.
and waiting to stab me. Okay, please don't let me give. So I think I did a lot of naughty things in school. I remember we used to learn French, and the French word for I don't sorry, I don't know if I can say that or not. The French word for prostitute is lot or something. And we used to
Okay.
just write letters to we used to write just random notes to everybody in class. Your mother is an arlot, your mother's, and just send it to random people. And I got caught for it also, and I was called to the principal. Because first thing when you get that English to French dictionary, you search for words like sex, and that's talking about like when I'm in 7th grade or 8th grade. And
Absolutely.
you search for all these wrong words which you're not supposed to search for, and the dictionary had it. So it was just very simple, I think childish, stupid school humor. Yeah.
You just made me so proud. So, if you were a fly on the wall, what would you listen to?
uh, I would just, I think, listen to somebody who's not getting a fly squatter. Yeah, so I don't want to die so quick on a wall. So yeah, maybe keep my eyes open and ears open for somebody who doesn't come with a fly squatter.
Then, what Game of Thrones character do you think you are?
I think I would go with Cersei Lannister.
Hmm.
She was mean. She was cunning. I know she died, but she was mean. She was cunning. Having the all her children in a in a palm.
Hmm.
And I think yes, I would go with Cersei Lannister. Yeah.
Wonderful. And what one thing do you think could be done to make Harry Potter funny?
I don't know. Make him Punjabi, yeah. I think that favorite thing that Harry puts her. I think that's the only. Just be honest. I have never found Harry. I just watched one movie of Harry Potter. I just never connected with that entire Harry Potter. I know people went gaga or over there, but
Yeah.
I just skipped that entire Harry Potter series altogether.
Interesting, because that's the statements like sacrilege for me. What sounds like music to your ears?
The sound of that when you go to a bank and they count that cash counting machine, that sound I think is superb to my ears.
And your comfort clothing?
Uh, just t-shirt and jeans always, anytime. I can sleep in it also.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Your favorite holiday, alone and with family?
Um, so alone, what happens is as a traveling comedian, you travel a lot alone, and you like I've been to cities alone. And what happens is when you travel alone, uh, I find it a little actually awkward because like somebody says, okay, you have 2 days free. Do you want to do sightseeing in this, in maybe Amsterdam? And I said, no, yeah. I mean, what do I do alone sightseeing like an idiot? Go to Anne Frank Museum or things like that. So I prefer having people along with me. I honestly love my family to be there with me so that we see things together. And I don't want to go and say that, hey, I've seen entire Amsterdam. They say what, you should take us along with you and seen it together. So when I'm usually alone, I travel a lot alone and I've been to like crazy places all over the world. But yeah, so I think the best place alone for me would be Hong Kong. I love Hong Kong a lot because it's very, very vibrant. It's bustling the city just like Mumbai. So I can just walk around the streets. So I love walking. So I can walk around the streets. Like last time I went to London alone, I think I must have walked for close to 23 kilometers in a day, just walking around London.
Wow.
Yeah, I love walking. So I remember it was a lovely cold day and I just walked, stopped someplace, had some coffee.
Hmm.
I've taken it very easy, but just saw the city, and I love to understand the city, so that next time I go there, I know the city. That's just crazy thing I have with me. That again, maybe it's an old thing because I'm an era where there was no Google Maps, so I love to understand the city on my own. Where things are, where the topography is, which is north, west, east, south. You know, so next time when I go, I can navigate without actually having a map also. But yeah, so that's one thing where so I think London, I think last trip where I walked alone through the day and just observed things. And yeah, so that is it. And with the family, we actually just had a very lovely holiday, as I told you, to Rishikesh and Landor with my family just I think 15 days back. I think it was a great holiday because this was at the peak of the pandemic. I had no of the second wave or third wave, sorry. I
Yeah.
had no shows, everything got cancelled, and I was knowing that there was nothing coming. So usually, whenever you're traveling, also there's always a thing, some deadline to be met, some thing to do, some contract to take. But this was nothing. Like I couldn't have looked at my phone for days, and nothing would have changed. Yeah.
How
So yeah.
wonderful.
So yeah.
You
So I
made
think
nimbu pani
holiday
out of
families.
lemons.
Sorry.
You made nimbu pani out of lemons that were handed
Yeah,
to
actually.
you. So now this will sound absolutely illogical because मेरे को सोच के ही बहुत illogical लगता है, but this still happens with me. If I was to meet you on the street and I would expect you to do random stuff because I just associate laughter with you, and I would expect you to burst into laughter or expect you to do. How do you react when people expect you to do these random things?
So this is we get a lot. So first of all, many times I'm walking on the street and somebody's crossing me, and they suddenly start laughing or smiling.
Ah,
Because their first reaction is, okay, I know this guy. Oh, okay, it's Atul Khatri. Oh, the comedian. And maybe at that time they remember some set of mine, maybe the Justin Bieber set or some set of mine they remember, and they laugh. So that's one thing I like about comedians is people relate us with laughter. Which is a very positive, I would say, reaction.
hmm.
So that's one thing I like about them. But I honestly hate when people, party and say, "Oh, you're a comedian. Good jokes now." And sometimes people don't understand, especially the older lot, older than me. They don't understand that that's not how comedy works. So they will get offended if you don't make. Arey, yaar, you're a comedian. You're trying to act high-handed. Why don't you tell me some few jokes? And it
Hmm.
doesn't do. Comedy doesn't work. I'm a comedian. I require a stage. I require an audience. यहाँ बैठे बैठे कुछ jokes, because actually genuinely most comedians off stage are very serious and very complex people.
You do need to think a lot to be able to get your timing and your content right. है ना?
No, not even that. We can make jokes on the spur, but sometimes the jokes, and especially in today's thing, you don't know, people will take it so wrongly. If I tell him a joke and if I make a dig at him, he'll say, "Acha, you made fun of me." So you know, it's very difficult actually. It's easy to make jokes on the spot on anybody, because if you don't know a person, you have look at him or look at her and make jokes something which you see on him or her. But other than that, then they'll feel offended. So I just you comedians, we generally, especially now today in a world where there's so many people get offended so easily, you have to be a little careful about it.
Yeah, fragile egos. So, what is the hardest thing you've given up?
Uh, Actually, I've not really given up anything here. I'm touch wood fairly. Uh, 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 I think the hardest thing I would have maybe given up would be my CEO job. I would say, it was good also that I gave up something totally different and got into a totally different line altogether.
Hmm.
It's given me a new life actually. But yeah, I think that would be the hardest thing if I would look at, because that process of getting out of a CEO to stand-up comedy was itself a very hard process. It was not very easy. It was not like I could have left my job tomorrow, chat, or tomorrow I'm a comedian. It took me 4 years. It was very, weighed and calculated before I took the, leap of faith into stand-up comedy.
And yet getting awards.
Yeah, touch wood. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Your favorite shopping to do?
I would say shoes. Shoes, yeah, I like shoes. My dad used to always tell me, when you see a person, see his shoes, and you'll come to know the characteristics of a person. He's wearing very flashy shoes, or if he's wearing very classy shoes, he's a classy person. So whenever I look at a person, my first, especially with I don't know too much about women fashion, but especially when I look at men, first thing I look at their shoes to see how I can judge the person from the shoes they wear.
Absolutely. I would give your dad like 120% on that. Women do the same.
I'm sure.
So, three wishes.
Uh, I think I would like to perform in a huge arena somewhere internationally. Like maybe like in New York, there's a Madison Square Garden. Maybe I would like to perform there. So that is one wish. Number two, I would wish that show to be sold out. And number three, I would want my entire family to be there when I'm performing there. So yeah, I think in one thing I combined
And
all
so
three
it
wishes.
is. And so it is. Gee. So, deep questions that you would say a guy should ask the woman to get to know her better. One deep question.
First,
Hmm.
one first question.
Yes.
Uh, I I would say that, uh, ma'am, do you love Louis Vuitton, H&M? I don't know, maybe that.
That would truly give you insights. It's like Sex in the City. You know
Yeah.
immediately.
And if she would say Louis Vuitton, I would say, okay, thank you, nice knowing you.
If you could fly, Atul.
If I could fly, I think so. I mean, this is one of my favorite superhero characters right from as a childhood. Ever since I understood all these things, was Superman, because one of the things he could fly, and I always felt that Superman is a character was a character who was born to be Superman. He was not like bit by a spider or a bat or some other insect. He was like he came from Krypton as Superman. So
Yeah.
I think I just love that fact that Superman can fly. I think that's his biggest superpower of flying and reaching anywhere in like minutes or seconds. Yeah.
That's Atul's
And
soup.
actually, as an Indian, I think to do great power, because then you won't require visas to get, because the Indians require visa to go everywhere, even like a shitty country like Malaysia.
Tathastu. So, what is your superpower?
I think my superpower is, I don't know, I think it is a superpower, but I think that I can speak to people for like face to face for 10, 15, 20 minutes and get a very fairly good understanding of what they are. Maybe I observe through the skin, I observe very carefully mannerisms and things like that. Like, and I've been pretty bang on many a times. Like, I remember meeting this one friend a long time ago. He introduced me to somebody. He was doing a business partnership with him. I was meeting him for the first time, and within 10-15, the meeting lasted 10-15. At the end of it, I told him, dude, don't go with this guy. I think he looks like a crook, you know. And he said,
Wow.
no, 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 dude, I've done all my due diligence. And actually, within 6 months, that guy ran away with his money, or they had a big fallout and the things of that. So, and he came to me and said, dude, you just met him for 15 minutes and you told him he's a crook. He actually turned out to be a crook. So I think that is what I look as the superpower. You know, I
Don't
think I can just look at people's mannerisms and see whether they're honest or things like that, or whether they are lying or fibbing. And I think it's not a very great superpower. I think if you just observe people properly, and I think just with I think age, you can come to know really what they are into really are.
I,
That favorite dialogue, Dara Singh's dialogue in Jab We Met, where he meets Shahid Kapoor for the first time, and he tells Kareena Kapoor, हमारे उम्र में हम एक नजर से आदमी का पता कर सकते हैं. It's like
crossing over to astrology, oh, aap.
that.
Don't put the astrologers out of business. So, your thoughts on aliens?
I think they are there. They are there because the universe is huge. We are just a tiny speck in it. I mean, I think there's this movie. There's this movie called Contact, where they say that I'm sure there's someone out there. Otherwise, it would be a total waste of space. It's like that. So I
Okay.
think aliens exist. Maybe they already exist amongst us. We don't know. I'm sure the bugs are all aliens. Sorry, I'm getting
Yeah.
political here, but they're from a different world. Yeah.
I agree. You've actually started another thought process, something that I'd never ever. So, आपका biggest fear क्या है?
Cockroaches.
Truly.
Seriously, I'm 54, but I see a cockroach, I get petrified. Like petrified, like I freeze. So in my bedroom there is a big hit can, that spray can. In my bathroom there is one, and if it gets little bit about to get over, I go and buy a new one, because I think that's the only thing which can kill them.
Yeah, absolutely agree. At least they run away. उसको देख के.
Yeah,
So, how can a broken heart be mended?
very quick. I think I've seen it works with everything. Yeah.
So, who do you think tests dog food when they say it has a new and improved flavor?
I think it has to be humans. Yeah, maybe I don't know. Doberman. Sorry, it's very silly pun, but yeah, I don't know. But it has to be humans. And let me tell you, as a child,
Hmm.
I mean, I've had dogs in my house since I was 8 years old, 10 years old,
G.
and there used to be this. I remember there used to be this jar of biscuits we used to keep on top of the fridge, which was full of dog biscuits.
Hmm.
And whenever your hand touched that, a dog used to get crazy that somebody's going to give me a biscuit.
Hmm.
So I said, and I was a child. I said, he's a best friend, yeah. I mean, there is something in the biscuit he really loves a lot. Let me taste it. So I actually ate a dog biscuit. So
Hmm.
I think it tasted like mud and chicken mixed together or something like that. It was awful.
Your favorite form of exercise?
Walking.
Do you,
I would rather say brisk walking rather than walking.
lovely. And do you sleep on your side or back?
Side. I do get on my back sometimes, but it is only when there's a woman on top. Sorry.
This gets interesting.
But it's usually a side.
So how many ants do you think are needed to lift an elephant?
I think if the intent is there, I think one is enough.
Beautiful. That was profound for me. Well, please give me 3 words to describe your relationship with your family.
I would say we are close. Obviously, we are honest to each other, and I would say we trust each other. So I think close, honesty, and I think trust.
Gee. One thing that you would do differently in your life? Is there any such thing?
I would have listened to my parents and hung on that pole when I was a kid. I would have become slightly more taller. I would say just 3-4 inches taller. That's about it. I'm 5'5" now. I think I would have been happy with a 5'8" or a 5'9". Yeah,
You're perfect for an Indian man.
actually.
it
Thank you. I take it as a compliment.
is a compliment. So, why is change constant when actually sitting in one place is the real constant?
Sorry, come again. Sorry, I lost you. Huh?
So, would you say change is constant when actually sitting in just one place is the real constant?
Hmm. Because I think even though you're sitting at a place, the life around you is constantly changing. Yeah, I mean, while we are sitting right now, the Earth is constantly moving around the sun,
Hmm.
and so I think even though you sit, I think it's not about just about you. You're again a very small, very tiny speck in this entire scheme of things. So outside things are changing. So I think that's what it means by life is constantly changing, even though you may be not doing it.
Bombay rains.
Yeah. Oh, uh, actually, Bombay rains are romantic if you're in a comfortable place, or it could be messy if you're not in a comfortable place. Like I always say, it takes 15 minutes of Mumbai rains for a person to say like, oh, how romantic, to like, oh shit, it's raining. Just
Yeah,
15 minutes.
yeah.
Within 15 minutes in Mumbai, the romance goes off, and now the other truth comes that
Hush.
bus.
Okay, so one thing that you've never spoken in any interview.
Uh, I don't know, yeah. I think I spoken a lot. I think maybe about my affairs. No, I don't have any. I'm just joking. I thought,
Just the things are getting spicy. Hmm. Gee. So, if you were a guru, what
oh,
would
I would love it. I think, oh, gurus are so much. First of all, I had to grow a beard because, I've seen in these gurus, there are three things. One is they have to have a long beard, they have
hmm,
to have long hair, they have to be sitting on a pedestal, and everybody else has to be sitting on the ground, on the floor. That's the one of the characteristics. You don't see Guruji ever sitting down and his disciples sitting up. It's always he's sitting on a pedestal, everybody sitting down,
yeah.
long hair and lovely clothes, and surrounded by beautiful women. You know, I think that's what makes it. And in those women, if there are two, three foreigners,
Hmm.
you're sorted for the rest of your life. You know, because then
And
the your fans think you have an international following. Plus, you're followed by such pretty women. That means you must be very nice, pious, kind of a thing. So I think if you look at all gurus everywhere, this is the kind of things which they follow, right? From, and I'm sorry to say, but Sri Sadguru, all these gurus, they have this kind of a thing. And languages, no, you could speak in English, Hindi, Sindhi, whatever works for you. People will follow you.
agreed. And lots of money is a byproduct. So, if you ever decide to switch careers, I will be happily obliged to
I
offer my services as your marketing person.
Thank you. You could be standing next to me in a white robe. And all the money they get, I believe, is not taxable. So I think that's what makes it very,
Yes,
nice and fun for them. Yeah. No
absolutely.
accountability at all.
Agreed. Public money, maze. So, where would Atul Khatri be 5 years hence?
For 5 years hence, I would be, I would love to be known as a truly international comedian right now. Even though I perform internationally, I'm still an Indian comedian. I would like to perform more internationally, and I want to be on stage. That's for sure. I really love going on stage, different stages, different platforms. I think just want to explore this more and more. And I honestly say, that at the age of 44, when I got into it, I never knew I was, going to be a comedian. Then from comedy, I started doing commercials. I started getting movie offers, you know. But so whenever somebody gives me a new idea, I always say, huh, let's listen to it rather than shooing it away, because I don't know where it will take you, And that's why I tell a lot of people, many times people are very closed about it, that no, why should I do this? Just go with the flow. You never know why life can take you, and at least listen to that person, follow. If somebody gives you an opportunity or somebody tells you something, please listen to it. Don't form your own opinions before you get into the call with that person. Listen to it with a very open mind. It could sometimes work for you.
Lovely. something that we all need to practice. Ji. So, Atul, last question. And I'm going to be very honest. Must have reached out to some 30 stand up comedians. Ji. You were the first one I reached out to because you're the only one I remember. And I go back to time and again when I am down in the pits, when I'm going to be 54 this year, when my hormones are acting up and I need some, fun in my life and some laughter and some boost, right? So I did not get a response from anyone. And the very fact that you have stayed in touch, responded, says a lot about you as a human being. So, first of all, thank you for that.
Hey,
And
thank you so much.
and my question, why did you agree to come on my channel? I'm such
I
a
make it a
small
point. There has been I learned it from Mr. Azim Premji. So I
G.
used to work a lot in my IT job. I used to work a lot with Wipro, and Wipro that time used to have a quality mission going on called Six Sigma. If you just Google about Six Sigma, it was things started by Motorola.
Hmm,
I think then followed. It was I think a Japanese practice where you form a process to your business life. And one of the things that Mr. Azim Premji had done at his level
hmm,
was that whenever anybody sent him an email, he made it a point to reply back in within 10 minutes, maybe him or his staff. And I always believe that whenever I get a message, I get an email, or I get any form of communication to me, as long as it sounds legit, you know, I always make it a thing to say yes or a no. Whatever it is, don't keep the other person hanging. That is a genuine person on the other end sending you an inquiry. Sometimes we get a lot of messages from colleges asking us to do free shows, and I know many communities ignore those messages because obviously we can't do a free show for a college. Uh, uh, Colleges expect us to do free shows, but you don't do free shows. But
hmm,
what happens is at least you should reply to them and tell them, hey, I am not available. Hey, I don't do a free show. Hey, I don't do this. Reply to them. So at least they know what it is. So one of my things, even if you send me a message or Instagram messages get too many to sometimes to monitor it yourself, but at least email, you've made the effort of finding my email ID, sending it. I think it's just basic courtesy to do that. And about your question, why I'm doing this interview is because currently I'm free. I have nothing else to do. All my shows are cancelled. I know, and I'm an old man. I require my calendar to be full in a day, doing some activity. So
That is
sorry,
just
buddy.
your kindness. I know I've been chasing you since November. And for me, that's a hallmark of a great person because I reach out to a lot of Indians, well placed in their lives. And I reached out to Oprah Winfrey. And she responded to me saying that she was not going to be doing an interview, but thank you for reaching out. So for me, you are that lead.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Same has been so much fun, as if you've been an old friend
Yes.
who I know, and yeah, we're just chatting like friends. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.